Hi, I'm Sindri from the JORVIK Viking Centre, and today I'm going to tell you a bit about some Viking superstitions. You see, the thing is, the Vikings were superstitious. You might have heard that word before. A superstition is something that you think might cause bad luck. So maybe you do or don't do something to stop yourself getting bad luck. Today, people often don't put umbrellas up inside their houses because they think it's bad luck. Some people think if you smash a mirror, it'll give you 7 years bad luck. Some people think that you shouldn't put new shoes on the table because that'll cause bad luck. Now, us Vikings, we had our own versions of things that cause bad luck. And one of them, a very serious one, is you should never throw a whetstone across an open floor. You know, a whetstone. Oh, okay, a whetstone. I've got one here. This is a whetstone. Yeah, it's a stone, but most Viking houses would have these. What you do with a whetstone is you use it to sharpen your weapons or your tools. They're knives and axes and swords you might have around your house. You draw your knife across it and it makes it nice and sharp. Now, in the Viking times, we believe you should never throw a whetstone. If you threw a whetstone across an open floor, it would make the god Thor angry. You might have heard of Thor. He's the god of thunder and lightning. I'm not sure you want him as one of your enemies. And so the reason that we thought that a whetstone would make the god Thor angry is because of a giant called Hrungnir. Now, Hrungnir was the king of the giants. And he was very tall, very big, very strong, very ugly. But he was very strong. And he was known for being an incredible fighter. And one day, he got himself into a fight with Thor, the god of thunder and lightning. And the two arranged to meet for a fight. They wanted to see once and for all who was the best fighter. And so they arranged to meet by the side of a river. On the morning of the fight, Hrungnir arrived with his sword as tall as the tallest tree in the forest, with his shield as big as the side of a house, and he was ready for a fight. He was ready once and for all to prove that he was the finest fighter in all the 9 realms. He had his shield, he had his sword. But no Thor. He wasn't there yet. That's fine. And he was ready for the fight. No Thor. He hadn't turned up. Thor was late. You arranged to kill a god, and you'd at least hope he'd turn up on time. Hrungnir was looking around, he was like, I'm pretty bored. What do I do? And after a while, he put his shield, as big as the side of a house, down. He took his sword, as tall as the tallest tree in the forest, and he stuck it in the ground. He went to the river and kicked some stones about. Eventually, he leaned down and found a stone like this one. He thought to himself, what a perfect stone to sharpen my sword. He grabbed it from the river, took his sword as tall as the tallest tree in the forest, and began to sharpen his sword. Now the day was passing and the dark skies were getting a little dark. And eventually Hrungnir said, well, Thor's just scared. He's too scared to fight me. He was about to pick up his shield and his sword to leave when he saw someone running towards him. At first he thought, oh no, it's not Thor, it's too small. And by the time he gets to him, this man stood about this tall next to Hrungnir, says, oh, I'm so sorry. My name's Thjalfi. I'm Thor's manservant. And I'm here to tell you that Thor's running a little bit late. He's here, he will be here to fight you, but he's just killing a different frost giant right now. But don't worry, he will be here. He promises. He's got to make his quota. And so, he's about to run away, and as he runs away, he turns around and he says to Hrungnir, oh, Hrungnir! When Thor arrives, he says he's going to arrive from underground. Bye! And he runs away. Now, Hrungnir has no idea what he's talking about. Why would Thor arrive from underground? That doesn't make any sense. And he scratches his head and he goes, I am very smart. He's not very smart. I am the smartest of the frost giants. he is the smartest of the frost giants. And he goes, I know that Thor is scared of me. So scared he doesn't want to fight fair. But I am very smart. He's not very smart. I am the smartest of the frost giants. He is the smartest of the frost giants. And I can outsmart Thor. He took his shield, as big as the tallest tree, big as the side of a house, and he laid it on the floor. He stood on top of it. So now, when Thor arrives from underground, instead of surprising Hrungnir, he'll go boom into his shield and knock himself out. Very clever. Once he was on top of the shield, he grabbed his whetstone once more, he grabbed his sword again, and once again began to sharpen his sword. Now the day continued until night was about to set, and Grundor looked to the sky for the stars, but he couldn't see them. He looked up and he went, it's very cloudy above. The sky above was dark and heavy. Rain started to fall, and suddenly Thor's anger cracked in the sky, thunder and lightning from above. Now, as we said, Thor was the god of thunder and lightning. And so as Hrungnir looked to the sky, he realised that Thor was above him, streaming down towards him, his mighty hammer held in front of him, ready to splat Hrungnir's head like an egg. Now, he panicked. He didn't have much time to stop the giant from flying down and hitting him. He looked at one hand, he had a sword. He looked at the other hand, he had the stone. He went, wha! And threw the whetstone into the sky, trying to knock Thor out of the sky. Now, a bit of rock is not going to kill the god of thunder and lightning. Thor waved his hammer as he flew towards the ground, smashing the whetstone into hundreds of pieces. He continued to stream down towards the giant, but as the stone exploded, the biggest piece of stone, hit him in the eye. But he didn't care. He continued to fly down, and the two began to fight. Both god and giant were at a disadvantage. Hrungnir had no time to pick up his shield, but Thor was blinded in one eye. Now I'm sure you can do a better job than I could ever describe on a giant and a god fighting for their lives. But let me tell you this, it went one way, it went the other way. There was shin kicking involved, there was wedges being pulled, ow, 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 until Thor jumped from the tallest tree, brought his hammer down above and splattered Hrungnir's head. Now, he was pretty happy with himself. Thor had killed Hrungnir. It's a pretty good day's work. And so by the side of that river, by the side of the giant's corpse, he began to congratulate himself. He brought out a skin of mead and drank it all down. And by the side of that river that night, Thor slept very, very well. But Thor had forgotten to do something. In his joy to celebrate his victory, he forgot to pull the whetstone out of his eye. And as he snored by the side of the river that night, he rolled over in his sleep and pushed the stone further into his eye. Now the next morning when he woke, he blinked, and he had a splitting headache. You see, the stone had pushed its way all the way back to the back of his head. He shouted out for his manservant Thialfi with his tiny human hands to try and pull the stone out, but to no avail. He even summoned a sorceress to try and enchant the stone out of his face, but to no avail. And so now Thor has a piece of whetstone stuck behind his eye. So if you ever throw a whetstone across an open floor in your house, the piece of whetstone behind Thor's eye moves, and it gives the god of thunder and lightning a headache. So next time your mum or dad, or whoever takes care of you, says, "Oi, stop throwing them whetstones across the open floor," it's because they too are scared of what Thor might do.